Caesar with the tweezer. Won't you step into the freezer? Oh, said I'm gonna live beneath her. It's gonna be cold, 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 cold. Gonna be cold, 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 cold. It's gonna be cold, 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 cold.
some purchase grads up here on stage here. We got Dan Common. We got William Hodling here. We've got Professor Joe Ferry. Yo, you gonna back me up, man? You gonna get into it?
Yeah, I'm gonna get into it, Neil.
What, you guys going over the arrangement or something? I mean, come on.
You guys ready, Dave? Count it off. Count it off, Dave. Count it off.
Come on, count it off, man!
Well, get up. 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 Instead of shake your arm, and then use your ball. Stay on the scene like a sex machine. Said you got to have the feeling as soon as you're born. Well, get it together, right on, right on. Well, get up, well, get up, well, get up, well, get up. I said the feeling you got to get. You give me a fever and a cold sweat. Is it the way I like it? That's the way it is. Saying I got mine. Don't worry about who's. Get up. Get up. Stay on the scene. Love the scene. Get up. Get up. Stay on the scene. Love the scene. I said, fellas. Can you take it to the bridge?
Take it to the bridge!
Can you take it to the bridge?
Come on, take it to the bridge!
Now, hit it! Aye. Stay on the scene like a love machine. Like a love scene. scene. Sits there on the scene like a love scene. Stay on the scene. Stay on the scene. Love the scene. Let it shine, 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 let it shine. together. Honey, me and you. Let's do the things, now do the things that we like to do, like to do. Do a little dance, make a little love, and get down tonight, get down tonight. Do a little dance, make a little love, and get down tonight, get down tonight. Baby, baby, allow me to. Same place, same time, yeah, yeah. We can all get together and ease up our mind, yeah. Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight, yeah. Get down tonight. Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight, get down tonight. Blow me some saxophone.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Joe Ferry and the Big Ska Band. Joe Ferry on bass, Emily Barnes, guitar and vocal, William Hoddling on saxophone, Dan Cotman, guitar, Dave Lewitt, drums, Jerry Mitkowski, keyboards, Vinnie Nobili on trombone, and Neil Spitzer on sax. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise? You're not standing, so rise. For the national anthem to be sung by Kara Collins and Emma Nicholson, candidates for the Bachelor of Music degree in voice performance from the Conservatory of Music.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the brave and the home of the brave.
Good afternoon, graduates of the class of 2017. Parents, relatives, friends of the graduates, members of the faculty, staff, administration, and distinguished guests. I am Thomas Schwartz, president of Purchase College, State University of New York. Thank you. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 45th annual commencement exercises. Joining me on the dais are dignitaries, friends of the college, members of our various foundation boards, our deans, directors, chairs, our faculty, our officers, and members of our college council. I will at this time introduce those members of the platform party who will not be introduced later in the ceremony. May I ask each as I introduce you to stand, to remain standing until all are introduced, and I ask the audience to hold your applause until all have been recognized. First, New York State Senator, District 37, George Latimer. Hold your applause. Members of the Purchase College Council, Paula Cancro, class of 79. Daniel Sanchez, President, Purchase College Student Government. Trustee and Chair of the Purchase College Foundation, Lucille Werlinick. Trustees of the Purchase College Foundation, Donald Cecil, David Fleischer, class of 76, and Phyllis Corsby Hyacinth. College officers, Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management, Dennis Craig. Interim Vice President for Student Affairs and Associate Provost for Integrative Learning, Jean Kim. Chief Financial Officer and Vice President of Operations, Judy Nolan. Vice President of Institutional Advancement, Catherine Brode. Professional staff and faculty, Dean of Student Success, Patricia Bice. Associate Provost for Academic Affairs and Associate Professor of Psychology, Peggy DeCook. Director of Instructional Technology, Teaching, Learning, and Technology Center and University Faculty Senator, Keith Lander. Director of the Library, Patrick Callahan. Interim Director of the Performing Arts Center, Seth Soloway, Counselor, Educational Opportunity Program, and UUP Chapter Vice President, Mary Garcia. I knew that was coming. Director, Institutional Research, and President, Professional Staff Council, Barbara Moore. Our New York State University Police Color Guard, Lieutenant James McGowan, Police Officer Jeremy Davis, Police Officer Bruce Chambers, Police Officer Gennaro Gonzalez, faculty marshals. There are members from our outstanding faculty who will be retiring this year. I want to recognize them for their long-term and long-lasting contributions and dedication to the college and its students. One of our retirees is serving as one of our 2 faculty marshals, Professor of Mathematics and Computer Science, Janine Meyer, and her colleague who will retire next year, Suny Distinguished Professor of Literature, Gary Waller. Mace carrier, and one of our staff, Associate Dean, School of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Rich Nassisi, is our mace carrier. Since 1978, Rich has been a steadfast presence on the campus. He is retiring after a 39-year career marked by dedication and contributions too numerous to recount. I would also like to recognize the following faculty and staff members who are retiring: Nicholas Lentner after 46 years, Eric Wildrick, 38 years, Dennis Fitzgerald, 37 years. Eric and Dennis designed and created the college mace to my right. On the stage, a wonderful legacy: Officer Walter Butler, Lieutenant Walter Butler, 30 years. Brian Short, 30 years. Stephen Greeley, 28 years. Christine Clint, 14 years. And Carrie Moskowitz, 11 years. We thank them for their many years of service. Now, please join me in welcoming all the members. Will our esteemed and talented faculty and staff who guided this class please stand? And will the parents, families, and friends of the graduates also stand for recognition? And now, don't sit down. Let's all rise and applaud each other, because without each other, this wouldn't happen. Senate Minority Leader Schumer will be here today. He is on his way. As you might expect, there is other business that kept him, but I will introduce him later. But I did decide that, given his presence and the presence of Mayor Dinkins and SUNY Board Chair Carl McCall, it would be appropriate to hear from an even higher authority. And so, in lieu of my remarks, I have decided to turn to the White House for advice. Wait.
This state, this city, this campus have stood long for both human rights and human enlightenment, and let that forever be true. This nation is now engaged in a continuing debate about the rights of a portion of its citizens. That will go on, and those rights will expand until the standard first forged by the nation's founders has been reached, and all Americans enjoy equal opportunity and liberty under law. But this nation was not founded solely on the principle of citizen rights. Equally important, though too often not discussed, is the citizen's responsibility. For our privileges can be no greater than our obligations. The protection of our rights can endure no longer than the performance of our responsibilities. Each can be neglected only at the peril of the other. I speak to you today, therefore, not of your rights as Americans, but of your responsibilities. They are many in number and different in nature. They do not rest with equal weight upon the shoulders of all. Equality of opportunity does not mean equality of responsibility. All Americans must be responsible citizens, but some must be more responsible than others by virtue of their public or their private position, their role in the family or community, their prospects for the future, or their legacy from the past. Increased responsibility goes with increased ability. For of those to whom much is given, much is required. You have responsibilities, in short, to use your talents for the benefit of the society which helped develop those talents. You must decide, as Goethe put it, whether you will be an anvil or a hammer, whether you will give to the world in which you were reared and educated the broadest possible benefits of that education. Of the many special obligations incumbent upon an educated citizen, I would cite three as outstanding. Your obligation to the pursuit of learning, your obligation to serve the public, your obligation to uphold the law. If the pursuit of learning is not defended by the educated citizen, it will not be defended at all. For there will always be those who scoff at intellectuals, who cry out against research, who seek to limit our educational system. Modern cynics and skeptics see no more reason for landing a man on the moon, which we shall do, than the cynics and skeptics of half a millennium ago saw for the discovery of this country. They see no harm in paying those to whom they entrust the minds of their children a smaller wage than is paid to those to whom they entrust the care of their plumbing. But the educated citizen knows how much more there is to know. He knows that knowledge is power, more so today than ever before. He knows that only an educated and informed people will be a free people, that the ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of all, and that if we can, as Jefferson put it, enlighten the people generally, tyranny and the oppressions of mind and body will vanish like evil spirits at the dawn of day. And therefore the educated citizen has a special obligation to encourage the pursuit of learning, to promote exploration of the unknown, to preserve the freedom of inquiry, to support the advancement of research, and to assist at every level of government the improvement of education for all Americans, from grade school to graduate school. The nation, indeed the whole world, has watched recent events in the United States with alarm and dismay. No one can deny the complexity of the problems involved in assuring to all of our citizens their full rights as Americans. But no one can gainsay the fact that the determination to secure these rights is in the highest traditions of American freedom. In these moments of tragic disorder, a special burden rests on the educated men and women of our country to reject the temptations of prejudice and violence, and to reaffirm the values of freedom and law on which our free society depends.
That speech was given on May 18th, 1963, 54 years ago, almost to the day. It was addressed to the students and faculty of Vanderbilt University. In these difficult times during which we continue to face issues of racial discrimination, as well as discrimination based upon sexual orientation, ethnic, disability, now religion, and country of origin, I found President Kennedy's words to be particularly relevant. He addressed, in part, the obligations of an educated citizen. You are now educated citizens. I believe what he said 50 years ago, 6 months before his assassination, is just as relevant to you Purchase College students as it was to Vanderbilt students then. You can listen to, these were excerpts of his speech. The full text and audio of his speech is available through the JFK Library and on the internet. I commend it to you. Thank you. And I would finally say, consistent with what President Kennedy said, I ask you to take up those responsibilities. If you sit by the sidelines, you are not fulfilling your role as educated citizens. Thank you, and God bless you. We are honored to have with us today the chair of the State University of New York Board of Trustees. H. Carl McCall was appointed chair on October 17, 2011, and has served on the board as a member since October 2007. Chairman McCall has had a distinguished career as a public servant. He served 3 times as a New York State Senator, representing the Upper Manhattan District of New York City, as an ambassador to the United Nations, as a commissioner of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and as commissioner of the New York State Division of Human Rights. Chairman McCall served as controller of the state of New York from May 1993 to December 2002. He has been a passionate advocate for public education. He served as president of the New York City Board of Education, where he set policy for the largest school system in the nation, and as the chairman of the Public Higher Education Conference Board, a coalition of 14 member organizations which supports a strong and vibrant public higher education system in New York State. He is the recipient of 9 honorary degrees. Please welcome Chairman McCall.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President Schwartz, for that very gracious introduction. But most of all, thank you for your leadership at Purchase. You have done a wonderful job in advancing a great institution, one of the great gems of the Suny system. Good afternoon, and welcome to this great celebration. I'm so honored to be here at Purchase today among all the proud friends and family who are witnessing this important ceremony as you officially become college graduates. I know I join President Schwartz and all the faculty and staff who have guided you to this moment in saying we could not be prouder of your accomplishments. I'm also thrilled to be present. Yep, you deserve it. Go ahead and clap for yourself. You deserve it. I'm also thrilled to be present as SUNY Purchase confers honorary doctorates to Mayor David M. Dinkins, Barbaralee Diamonstein-Spielvogel, and Holland Cotter. Each of these individuals has offered tremendous service to both New York State and America as a whole. I cannot think of many people more deserving of this honor than they are. As chairman of the SUNY Board of Trustees, I stand here along with my fellow trustee, Carl Spielvogel. We want to be one of the first to congratulate you as you embark on the next step in your journey. It may be for an advanced degree. It may be a job working in the industry you studied during your time here at Purchase, and it may be something else altogether. That is the incredible thing about walking out of the door today with a SUNY degree. The world just opened up, and the possibilities for you are endless. You are joining a network of 3 million SUNY alums around the world that are CEOs, actors and musicians, government officials, doctors, lawyers, scientists. This is a powerful group that affects change in so many ways. And you are now part of that group. We can't wait to see what you will do. That fact is why we do what we can as a Board of Trustees. Always in the forefront of our minds is the fact that the decisions we make have a direct impact on the students, and we are careful stewards of that responsibility. You see, I know firsthand the benefit of higher education and the transformational effect it could have on a student's life. My own story begins because I was able to enter college and obtain several degrees. I've had experience working around the world, pursuing a career in public service to the highest levels of government, and all because I have a college degree. You will have that degree, and you must do big and good things with it. I look around this room and I can't even imagine who you will be in 10 years. But one thing is for sure, you have the best possible beginning you could have. Take that SUNY diploma and go and do great things. Keep in touch. We want you to inspire those students that come after you, and we know you will. To the class of 2017, congratulations again, and best wishes for a successful future.
I want to introduce at this time Kevin Collymore, who is the president of the Purchase College Alumni Association. I do want to say off the script that Kevin was the president of the student body at Purchase College. He was an EOP student and is consistent with what Chairman McCall just said. It shows you when opportunity is given, what you can do with that opportunity. And Kevin is now pursuing his career in higher education. And Kevin has assured me that one day he will be standing here addressing you as the president of Purchase College.
Thank you, President Schwartz. Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Collymore, and as President Schwartz says, I am a proud member of the class of 2010 and EOP graduate. I am president of the Purchase College Alumni Association. On behalf of our association, I congratulate you, the class of 2017, on your momentous accomplishment. On behalf of Purchase alums present today and around the world, I welcome you as the newest members of our association. Please stay engaged and connected with each other and also connected with your alma mater, because on your journey, you are guaranteed to find a Purchase alum along the way. It is now time to honor one of our distinguished alums from the class of 2001.
It is a tradition of the Academy to honor individuals of preeminence, influence, and service within their chosen fields through a variety of means. For example, the honorary doctorate awarded by the Board of Trustees of the State University recognizes individuals for a significant body of life's work, unparalleled accomplishments, and/or generous and sustained service to society. A President's Award for Distinguished Alumni marks the occasion of a maturing institution and honors distinguished alumni whose demonstrated excellence and significant contributions within their chosen fields reflects on the quality of their educational experience at Purchase. We are confident that our alumni, poised as they are for roles of major influence and contribution, will continue to emerge worthy of these awards. The audience will find brief descriptions of today's honorees on pages 8 through 11 in the commencement program. Kevin will please assist me with the presentation of the President's Award for Alumni Achievement. The recipient of the 2017 President's Award for Distinguished Alumni is Regina Spektor. Regina. We are honored to present you with this citation, which reads in part, Regina Spektor, Distinguished Alumnus. Whereas 9 years before you began your journey at Purchase in 1998, you had emigrated to New York City with your family from the Soviet Union as religious and political refugees. Whereas as a senior at Purchase in 2001, you self-published your first CD, 1111, and by 2003, you were touring nationally and internationally. Whereas you signed with Sire Records in 2004 when you released your third of now 7 studio albums entitled Soviet Kitsch. Your fourth album in 2006, Begin to Hope, went gold, peaking at number 20 on the Billboard 200, was nominated for the Short List Music Prize, and Fidelity, a video of the single from that album, has over 16 million views on YouTube. Whereas you have performed at many impressive locations, including the White House, Radio City Music Hall, the music festivals Coachella, Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza, and Austin City Limits, the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville. I got to look and see what she's doing. London's Hyde Park and Moscow, on shows like Stephen Colbert and Saturday Night Live, and most importantly, at our Performing Arts Center, where in 2007 you gave a benefit concert for our students. Whereas you write and perform your original music for numerous films, television shows, and commercials, most notably your original You've Got Time theme song for the Netflix show Orange is the New Black. Nominated in 2014 for a Grammy Award and winner of the 2015 Broadcast Music Streaming Media Award. Whereas you have demonstrated through your art and through your philanthropy that words and deeds can be meaningful, and you have touched and inspired hearts and souls here as well as around the world. Now, therefore, do I, Thomas J. Schwartz, President, on behalf of the faculty, students, and staff of Purchase College, State University of New York, proudly recognize Regina Spektor, recipient of the Purchase College's President's Award for Distinguished Alumni, presented on this day, 19th of May, 2017.
Thank you. Wow, I'm too short for this podium. And speaking is a lot scarier than singing. Thank you so much. Thomas Schwartz is just the most caring president. I've talked to him over the years, and he cares so much about the happiness of students and always trying to find a new way to make things better here at Purchase, so thank you. Okay, I wrote a speech. Congratulations, dear graduates. It wasn't long ago that I was at my own SUNY Purchase graduation, listening to the voice of James Earl Jones say, "May the force be with you." Today I'm honored to be welcomed back and to speak with you, and though I couldn't come up with anything half as good as that phrase, I will try to say a few words from my heart. Being at Purchase was a magical time for me. I entered the music conservatory, moved into the dorms, got my meal plan, which meant that my pockets were always full of cookies and apples and oranges from the dining hall. It was the first time in my life I met so many like-minded people, and as if all the kids who were the dreamers in the class, the doodlers, the scribblers, the starers out of windows, somehow decided that SUNY Purchase was the school for them. I didn't know it at the time, but I would meet some of my closest lifelong friends here, and my future husband too. There he is. I loved it. I loved all the brick, the nature of Westchester, the classes, the teachers, the students, the many senior and junior projects to see, the late night conversations, the crazy living room dance parties. I was so grateful for the feeling of community, of fun, and of freedom. Surrounded by political science, music, women's studies, documentary film, environmental science, dance, literature, and many more majors, we were always discovering something new through our friends. Someone was playing a new chord they just found out about, or reading a new, old philosopher. But it wasn't all easy. I had obstacles, stresses, fears. I hurried. We didn't have a lot of money. I worried about my student loans. I had taken some AP classes in high school, which had helped a bit, but I was really in a rush to save money, and I overloaded on credits every semester. Luckily, that had a bright side and led me to classes like travel writing, oil painting for beginners, sculpture for non-majors, French, and of course, because who could resist a class with that name, Jewish humor through literature. I was lucky enough to get scholarships. Just like many others, I did a semester abroad. I worked 3 small jobs on campus, and then somehow, in what simultaneously felt like a lifetime and a blink, I was done, a graduate. I had no idea what to do, what to try. With my music degree in hand, I went out and got my first post-college job on a butterfly farm in Wisconsin for $10 an hour cash, and I was ecstatic. When that was done, I moved back into my childhood bedroom in my parents' apartment and began to work a series of office jobs I wasn't super great at because I was always daydreaming too much. Just to put it in perspective, my parents lived at the top of the Bronx and I worked in Soho, so my days went something like this. Early in the morning, I would walk to the subway and travel to my day job, which door to door usually took about an hour and a half. Then after 6 p.m., I'd go back to the Bronx, eat a bowl of soup my mama made, change, walk back to the subway, this time heading down to the East Village to try and play a song or two at an open mic or do some other music-related thing, and then late at night, head back to the subway, back to the Bronx to sleep so that tomorrow I could start all over again. And I had it better than many of my friends who didn't have parents living in New York, who had to pay rent and lived in tiny apartments with many roommates instead of their childhood bedrooms, and who didn't have anyone making soup for them or staying up late waiting for them to turn the key quietly and know they're okay. I don't think my parents ever slept during those years, worrying about me getting home late at night from playing shows. They were so supportive, like I see so many parents here. I actually had to ask them to stop coming to the bars I played at, just so that I could experience what it was like to play for strangers without having these 2 loving faces beaming up at me. I've known so many people whose parents didn't want them to be artists or disapproved of the path they chose. I'm one of the lucky ones. But still, being broke, averaging about 5 to 6 hours a day on the subway, didn't always do great things for my outlook. There's a Russian saying my mom told me when I was growing up. The eyes fear, but the hands do. It helped me find my place in it all, to make the best of it, to do as much as I could. I read a lot of books on the subway and made every stranger I ever met sign my mailing list. Even guys who tried to get my number, I just opened my marble notebook and have them write down their email instead. They were surprised, but always did it. I played every show I could, bars, cafes, indie comedy nights, residencies, people's living rooms. I took buses I could afford from Chinatown to Philly and Boston to play there too. I drew endless flyers and always carried a backpack with 5 CDs, hoping I'd find someone to take one or maybe even buy one. That was exciting. When you leave here, you might feel overwhelmed by the amount of work ahead, but you must do a little every day. The key is not to stop. The eyes fear, but the hands do. The eyes might take in financial struggles, heartbreak, political setbacks, really big political setbacks, cruelty, hatred, climate change, but the hands do. They find a person to help, an instrument to play, a friend to cook for, a plant to water, a book to open, a note to write, an act of resistance to participate in. Instead of letting the magnitude of it all wash over you, try to do small things. What you have, what you will always have no matter what, is your unique and perfect consciousness. Some people call it a soul. Some people think of it as an instinct or intuition. It is your inner voice, and it is most important, especially now. Amplify it, support it. It's the thing that will make you say yes to an opportunity you didn't even realize you wanted, or to say no to something that looks good on paper but ultimately feels wrong to you. It is your inner guide, and if you let it, it can lead you through this incredible, confusing, surreal, mysterious, at times painful, but always powerful and inspiring experience of living life authentically. My mouth is too dry, hold on. I'm rushing because I don't want to take too much of your time. Thank you. Okay. You don't have to know all the answers today. Everyone is going to ask you out of habit. So what are you going to do now? Which is an updated version of, what do you want to be when you grow up? Most of the time, I'm acutely aware of how little I know. But I truly believe that if you pursue trying to honor your natural gifts and qualities, you will be able to succeed to reach your goals. You can be most useful in the world just by being your true, ever-evolving self and following your true, ever-winding path. And that could be my wish for you today, to follow your dreams and to work hard for them. Be kind to them, too. Dreams should not be judged, just heard. And to do all that, you must take care of yourself. Surround yourself with good people, people you can look up to. Ask questions, seek community. Hang out with kind, empathic, gentle doers. Don't stay too long with those who bring you down. Remember, there's nothing better to do around here, on this planet, in this universe, than to be your true self, an ever-expanding force. And speaking of force, may the force be with you. Thank you.
You know, as president of Purchase, I have come to meet a lot of very famous people who've graduated from here. But I can't tell you that anybody is like Regina, in that her fame has not changed her. And she is just, as you saw, sweet and calm and modest as when she gave away that first CD and was happy that somebody took it. But I will just tell you one anecdote that will tell you a little more. She just performed at Radio City, sold out Radio City. But it was her mother's birthday, and from the stage, she called her mother, and the entirety of Radio City sang happy birthday to her mother. We will now proceed to the awarding of the honorary degrees. I have asked Chairman McCall, our State University Counsel Wendy Ravitz, and our Provost Barry Pearson to assist me in conferring the honorary degrees. Wendy, will you please join me at the podium? Our first honorary degree recipient is Barbaralee Diamonstein-Spielvogel. And would you please join us at the podium? We are honored to present you with a citation which reads in part. This is going to take a few minutes. It's very impressive. As an author, preservationist, civic activist, curator, television interviewer, and producer, you are a model for civic and cultural engagement. For more than 50 years, you have served the city of New York, New York State, and the nation in the Reagan, Clinton and Obama administrations, expanding and elevating our cultural and historic resources. As the first director of the New York City Office of Cultural Affairs, you oversaw programs that expanded public access to the arts. As a founding director of the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, you were chair of the subcommittee that commissioned all the site-specific art integral to the museum. You were vice chair of the U.S. Commission of Fine Arts, the first woman in its 109-year history to hold the position. You were a founding director of the High Line Elevated Park in New York City, and a founding director of the Trust for the National Mall. You are now the founder chair of the New York City Landmarks 50+ Alliance, comprising 187 civic organizations, and the author of 23 books and numerous articles. You were the longest-serving member of the New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission, and as chair of the Historic Landmarks Preservation Center, you created the Cultural Medallion Program. In tribute to your stewardship, Governor Cuomo appointed you as the chair of the New York State Council on the Arts in 2016. Your name is synonymous with service, having served on the boards of numerous educational, visual, literary, and performing arts institutions. You have been a supporter of our college and especially the Newberger Museum of Art since its inception. Your accomplishments provide inspiration to our students who, through their own careers, hope to make a positive impact in their communities. In recognition of your dedicated and significant contributions to the artistic, cultural, historical, and educational resources of our state and our country, the State University of New York, through Purchase College, bestows upon you the degree of Doctor of Arts. Barbaralee Diamonstein-Spielvogel, by virtue of the authority invested in me, the faculty of the State University of New York concurring, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Arts, honoris causa, and I invest you with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto. In token thereof, I present you with its diploma and direct that you be vested with the hood appropriate to your degree. Wendy will put it on you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll hold this ticket.
Thank you, President Schwartz. Good afternoon to the deans, the faculty, the students, parents, significant others, partners, friends, fellow graduates, and honorees. It's a real pleasure to join you here today to accept this high honor from Purchase College. Although this is not the first commencement talk I've given, the task of offering advice to a group of strangers, young strangers, does not become any easier with time or practice. Another example of why I wish I knew how to sing, and if I did, I do hallelujah now. Some estimate there will be almost 2 million college graduates in the United States this year, but very few as fortunate as the nearly 800 being graduated here today. Purchase has a deserved national reputation for its culture and its programs. Almost all of you have spent 4 years, more or less, honing your craft and doing what you love. I hope you'll continue to do so. You now possess what Malcolm X called your passport to the future. So what will you do with it? Some of the next big ideas will come from your generation. The ancient Greeks coined the word idea. In classical Greek, the word idea means to see, to discern a pattern. They knew then that the function of human thought is the creation of form out of the chaos of this world. In this do-it-yourself world, you too will need to be discerning and create your own opportunities. And here's an existential thought: plan your happiness. Consider this: for every dollar spent, the arts generate $7 for our economy, though it is not a good idea to equate creativity and cash. It can be a persuasive method when trying to influence legislative assemblies, the business community, and of course, your parents. The National Endowment for the Arts recently reported that economic activity from the arts and cultural sectors accounted for 4.2%, almost $742 billion of the GDP. A number of advocates for the arts have quantified its economic value. But what is important and not reducible to dollars and cents is the passion and commitment that you carry within yourself. Art is a bridge, a way of connecting across time and space, despite tangible differences. The arts do influence minds, open eyes to new and compelling vistas, heal wounds, provide joy, allay anguish, and transport us to new worlds and new experiences. On stage and off, on screens, in books, and online, artists challenge preconceived notions, hoping to create a community of understanding between their work and the public they are meant to serve. I think back to the opening of this program today, an excerpt from a speech given approximately 60 years ago that is as relevant today as it was when President Kennedy shared those words. 2 days ago, on May 17th, the 63rd anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka was commemorated. That 1954 landmark legal decision, carried by a unanimous Supreme Court vote of 9-0, determined that separate educational facilities are inherently not equal, leading, it was hoped by many, to an end to racial segregation in most of our schools. As you start on the next steps of your personal journey, the Brown decision is a worthwhile reminder, a significant reminder of the need to understand the genesis of ideas and attitudes. It is not coincidental that during these past 60+ years, the civil rights, human rights, women's rights, the LGBTQ, even historic preservation and other progressive movements were nourished by enduring grassroots efforts. These movements share the philosophical belief that the right to self-determination should be balanced by our responsibility to each other and to the greater good. Progress has been slower than we had hoped, and our vulnerable communities need real opportunities. The challenges are not insurmountable, but require innovation, flexibility, humor, and imagination. Just think, the first personal Apple computers were introduced in 1976, a little more than 40 years ago. That probably seems like a lifetime to many of you, but by 2037, many of you will be working in occupations or industries that have not yet been discovered or imagined. Just this very week, a business entrepreneur who predicted he would change the world has managed to do that. One of the measures of his success is he is now the wealthiest man in the world. He is the creator of Amazon. How do we make our future more just, more inclusive, and equitable? Almost 10 years ago, President Obama said, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the change that we seek. You can be the change artists. So imagine your world and then create it. Register to vote and then show up and vote. Share your ideas and declare your ideals. Purchase has taught you to think wide open. Find your voice, whether through advocacy or art, activism or aesthetics. Each of you are needed as advocates for change to initiate constructive engagement, perform acts of urban civility, and become the change you seek. The time is always right to do what is right, and your time is now. Your future awaits, and I wish to each and all of you a happy, long, and fulfilling life on this special landmark day. Thank you.
Chairman McCall, will you join me at the podium to confer our next honorary degree? David Dinkins is the recipient of our second honorary degree. Mayor Dinkins, would you please join us? You okay there? You are best known as the 106th mayor of New York City, a post that you held from 1990 to 1993. You were the first and only African American to hold this office. Your accomplishments during those 4 years are noteworthy and significant. However, this is only a portion of the commitment that you have made to New York City and to New York State. After completing law school in 1956, you quickly turned from a law practice to politics and ran for the New York State Assembly in 1965, representing Harlem. You were a founding member of the Black and Puerto Rican Legislative Caucus of New York State, the Council of Black Elected Democrats of New York State, and 100 Black Men. You moved from state to city politics and became city clerk in 1975 and in 1985, Manhattan Borough President. Your commitment to changing the lives of minorities and underserved communities is evident in your work to increase housing for the homeless and mentally ill, to address the city's crack cocaine and AIDS crises, and to rebuild communities in Harlem, the South Bronx, and Brooklyn. As mayor, you also served as the vice president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. In 1994, you joined the faculty of Columbia University, where you continue to serve as professor in the practice of public policy at the School of International and Public Affairs. You have been a loyal supporter of Purchase College and its students. I want to also say, as a lifelong resident of New York City, from my point of view, you were the manifestation of what a mayor of New York City should do and who he should represent. In recognition of your outstanding contributions to government, your service to the citizens of New York City and state, your commitment to education, and for the leadership you have shown in advancing the rights of minorities and the underserved, the State University of New York, through Purchase College, bestows upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws. David Norman Dinkins, by virtue of the authority vested in me, the faculty of the State University of New York concurring, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, and I invest you with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto. In token thereof, I present you with this diploma and direct that you be vested with the hood appropriate to your degree.
Thank you, Mr. President.
My pleasure, and I meant what I said.
Isn't that nice? Oh, boy.
I'll give it to Carl to hold.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you, President Schwartz, and good afternoon, graduates. I know that you're anxious to reach that point in today's ceremony when the degrees you have earned are conferred, so I will try to express my thanks briefly. Because we are, or I am, in New York City, and I often am in the company of African-American diplomats, and South Africans particularly have a custom. Instead of acknowledging by name all of you important people here on the platform and out there, they simply say, usual protocols observed. So that means that Regina Spektor and Cody La Vada and Dominic Carter and Kevin Collymore and Senator Chuck Schumer. I don't know whether Chuck has arrived yet or not, but I know he's expected. Well, I'm all right then. And of course, Carl McCall, what you may not know is that his bride, Joyce Brown, Dr. Joyce Brown, who heads Fashion Institute, she was one of my deputy mayors. And so a whole lot of the good that we got done was because of Joyce Brown. That Purchase College would choose to confer upon me this honorary degree is a great honor, and I'm proud that you view my efforts in public service as worthy of recognition. I am, of course, grateful to have been given the opportunity to serve as the 106th mayor of the greatest city in the world, those of you who come from other cities notwithstanding. There are many architects of the gorgeous mosaic, that's what I call the city of New York, some of whom are here today and others are represented by two who have contributed to our tapestry, New England-born Holland Cotter. Applause, please. He's here to receive an honorary degree. My congratulations to you, sir. And then there's my dear friend Barbaralee Diamonstein-Spielvogel, who's an exemplary native New Yorker, someone who contributes passionately to her city as a historian, an author, a lifelong advocate for the arts, landmarks, and communities. I could go on about what a tremendous person of character she is, but for the sake of time, I ask that you trust me when I say that this institution could not have chosen a better honoree than this woman right here. And I'm pleased to stand before you now to congratulate Mrs. Barbaralee Diamonstein-Spielvogel, one of the true treasures of New York. Permit me to speak directly for a moment with the class of 2017 about the will and the investment that you must be prepared to make in those who are less fortunate than you
and who have not had the opportunities that you have had. And believe me, there are many who have had even fewer opportunities than you, such that you are here today with us wearing a cap and gown. I have witnessed many things in my life of public service and have encountered many thousands of good and caring people, but I've observed that even good and caring people can sometimes overlook the struggles of those less fortunate than themselves. I want to share my concerns about such things as you prepare to move on in your lives and inevitably become an influence in the lives of others. Over 5 decades ago, amid times as difficult as these, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dedicated his life to raising his voice to turn the tides toward justice as he shared his dream of a better life. He gave us the gifts of determination and most of all, his hope for the future. He was able to articulate a vision so powerful and so compelling that it helped lift our country from the strife of his times. As I look around here today, pardon me, we old people, we sometimes cough like that. As I look around here today, I can see that time has not eroded Dr. King's dream, but it is in jeopardy. We know that as long as the doors of opportunity remain closed to so many, the dream that Dr. King dared dream will not be fulfilled. We will have to repent in this generation, he wrote, not merely for the vitriolic words and actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence of the good people. Please do not number yourselves among the silent good people. You've had the advantage of guidance of mentors here at Suny Purchase, and you must remind yourself, sorry, this is the remnants of bronchitis. You've had the advantage of guidance of mentors here at Suny Purchase, and you must remind yourselves of the importance of passing such guidance on to others. You can do no less. You are the source of our nation's moral wealth, and we are invested in you. Ours is an investment that has great value. It comes to you from over the generations and is not to be misspent. We must not misspend your moral capital by measuring success in terms of personal gain at the expense of the common good. You must not misspend the investment in you by disregarding the misery of others. You must not misspend your educational advantage by turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to the suffering that comes inevitably from the abuse of power and reckless disregard for the rights of others. You must not misspend the faith and trust of family and friends by following the example of those who would sacrifice future generations to satisfy their need for immediate gain and the power to sustain it. It is said that the true measure of any society is the manner in which it treats the least of us. That means that we must shoulder the responsibility for every human being, including the poorest, the neediest, the most vulnerable. Without such a compact, there is no just society. And as future leaders, you share a special duty to fulfill this obligation. It will soon be your responsibility to guarantee that every member of our community enjoys equal rights and equal opportunities. That is the spirit with which this country was founded. That is the cornerstone of our Constitution. I'm not asking that you take up a lifetime of public service, but I do ask each of you personally to give back some measure of that which you have received. Whether you opt for a career helping others or give some of your time to a worthy organization, however you choose to make this gift of yourself, it will make a difference. It will matter, and as future leader, you can do no less. The leadership and educators at Suny Purchase are invested in your future. As with all colleges and universities, they shoulder the weighty responsibility in teaching and training those who will serve as builders of the future. I hope that all of our collective contributions might inspire the conviction, the will, and the wherewithal to serve in all of you. Let me close now with a selection I found inspiring, a passage from John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress that may help to guide your actions as you leave this place and steer your course through the inevitable challenges you will face. It is a parable Bunyan called The Bridge Builder. It goes like this. An old man going a lone highway came in the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast, both deep and wide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The swollen stream was as naught to him, but he stopped when safe on the farther side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you're wasting your strength in labor here. Your journey will end with the closing day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you this bridge at eventide? The laborer lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I've come, he said, there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm which has been naught to me, to that young man may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building this bridge for him. I thank the leadership of SUNY Purchase, President Schwartz, its trustees, and members of the faculty for this honor, and thank you for listening and for the high honor you've given me today. Congratulations. God bless you. Keep the faith.
Our third and final honorary degree recipient is Holland Cotter. Would you please join us at the podium? Provost Pearson, will you join me as well? Born in Connecticut, raised in Boston, and educated at Harvard, CUNY, and Columbia, you have lived most of your life in New York, where you have applied your fine eye, intellectual curiosity, and exceptional writing to our culture at large. Your focus on the arts began in the 1970s, when you were the co-editor of New York Arts Journal, a quarterly magazine publishing fiction, poetry, and criticism. After a decade as a contributing editor at Art in America and an editorial associate at Art News, you began writing for the New York Times and became a staff art critic in 1998 and its co-chief art critic in 2011. Today, your reputation for criticism that mixes personal, political, and cultural insights makes you one of the most widely read art critics in the United States. Your work has enabled you to travel to many places beyond New York, including Africa, India, and China. Your topics range from the Italian Renaissance to street-based communal work by artist collectives. You have incorporated thoughtful perspectives in your reviews, ranging from the opening of the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington to a recent traveling exhibition documenting the dangers encountered by migrants from Mexico to the United States. You write with clarity and truthfulness, inspiring your readers to probe and explore these subjects on their own, but with important historical and cultural perspectives. Your work earned you a Pulitzer Prize in 2009. In 2010, you received the Lifetime Achievement Award for art writing from the College Art Association, and in 2013 and 2014, you received the award for Best Criticism from the International Association of Art Critics. In 2015, you were elected a Fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. As a leader in the field of journalism and arts criticism, you are an inspiration to our students who have pursued an education where the arts and liberal arts and sciences intersect. In recognition of your outstanding contributions to the cultural conversation of our time, the State University of New York, through Purchase College, bestows upon you the degree of Doctor of Letters. Holland Cotter, by virtue of the authority vested in me, the faculty of the State University of New York concurring, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and I invest you with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. In token thereof, I present you with this diploma and direct that you be vested with the hood appropriate to your degree.
Dear 2017 SUNY Purchase graduates, I salute you on your happy and hard-won day. I congratulate you on a job completed. Getting an education is a job, for sure. It's hard work. To have successfully completed that work at this distinguished school is to have done that job well. It is customary at graduations to say, "And now I welcome you to the real world." But I won't say that, because if in your years here at Purchase you have been studying and creating and thinking critically, you have been in the real world all along. I would say you have been in the realist world. This is not to deny that many of you, particularly those in the fields related to the humanities, will face uncertainties and stresses after graduation. No doubt you will. But my guess is that you didn't undertake an education simply because you thought it was a safe, risk-free thing to do, an easy path to security. My guess is that many of you came here because you love learning and knowledge and the freedom of mind that they can bring, a freedom that no one can ever take away from you. And that love began for you very early through the influence and support of family members and friends. Many of those people are with us this afternoon. I salute them too. This is their happy day too. I'm always reluctant to give advice because I'm so bad at taking it myself. But graduates, my advice to you is this: hold on to that love of learning and knowledge, which is also a love of life. Love is not just romantic. Love is reality-based. It is concrete, and it is critical. It is a form of paying very close attention to the world and to the beauty and to the darkness in it. That attention is a form of devotion, and it will be a fuel that will sustain you on the road ahead. Sometimes the direction of that road will be clear and the ride will be smooth. At other times, the surface will be rough and the compass confused by what seem to be detours and distractions. I speak from personal experience. The road that brought me to journalism, to writing about art, was by no means a straight one. In my resume, I try to make my history look logical, but this is an illusion. In reality, my life has been a map of zigs and zags. My story is entirely a story about learning, basically about being a perpetual student. I see my job at the New York Times, where I have now worked for 25 years, as a salaried form of continuing education. Some of you here, maybe many of you, will leave school today and walk into jobs in the field you studied. For others of you, including those in the arts, graduation may well mean taking day jobs, jobs that pay the bills so you can go home at night and do your real work with some sense of security. Where I come from, the fields of art and writing, having day jobs is totally normal. I've had many of them over the years. To name just a few, I worked as a hospital emergency room orderly. I tutored college composition. I taught in a language school. I worked in a bank. I worked as a messenger. I did legal proofreading. I worked in a computer center. And I worked, very briefly, in a daycare center. The daycare center job was a total nightmare. The center was in Soho, and there were 12 kids enrolled, several of them children of artists, which says nothing about artists. My third day there, I decided to take the kids to Central Park so they could see some green and work off some steam. So we got on the A train to Canal Street and headed uptown to Columbus Circle. Just as we were getting off there, an uptown B train pulled in across the platform. One of the kids, his name was Damon, ran over and got on the B train. Bang, the doors closed, and the B train took off for the Bronx, with Damon waving from the window. You can imagine my state of mind. Here I was, on my third day on the job, and I'd already lost a kid. It took me, 11 very cranky 5- and 6-year-olds, and the New York City Police Department many hours to track Damon down. And where did we find him? At home, watching TV. Like most city kids, he knew the subway system very well and had found his way back down to Soho, where a neighbor had let him into his parents' loft. He was just fine. He had had a great day. I was not fine. I have never been more stressed out in my life. One very positive thing about day jobs is that no matter how bad they may be, you can learn from them. What did I learn from this one? Never to work in a daycare center again. Now, I mentioned these jobs I had in the interest of full disclosure. This is what the future, in the short term, may hold for some of you. The point I want to re-emphasize is that through all the jobs, I kept writing. The jobs supported that. Some directly influenced it. The hospital job did. It was my education in human fragility and resilience, and my first conscious experience of feeling unambiguously useful to other people. I would later come to understand that there are many, many ways of being useful to people, and that writing and the pursuit of learning can be among them. What I did grasp very early in my life was that writing was the one thing I was good at, and probably for that reason I loved it. I also, even as a very young person, loved language, words, the way a painter may love color, or a mathematician may love numbers, or a contractor may love tools. Language was something in my life that I felt I had some control over, something I felt I could shape. I did not, however, have any precise control over finding a career in writing. A career gradually found me. One day, the New York Times left a message on my home answering machine, asking if I was interested in doing some freelance work for them. The only reason that message came was because I had already been writing and publishing for almost no money for years, while making a living doing other kinds of work. Making a living The veteran artist John Baldessari, who had to wait a very long time for recognition, once advised younger artists not to paralyze themselves with despair about finances. As for money, he said, if you're talented and obsessed, you'll find a solution. All you graduates in this hall today are talented. Your SUNY Purchase diplomas attest to that. And I am encouraging you to be obsessed, to bring an obsessive passion to the work you do or want to do. Bring a crazy love to it. Again, I hate to give advice, so I'll just say this. Whatever work you do, whatever life you shape to help you to do that work, make generosity toward the world your mantra. Open hand, open mind, open heart. This does not mean embracing all ideas unconditionally. At this time of extreme, cruel, divisive, racist politics in the United States, that is impossible. What it means is greeting the world with a readiness to embrace. A readiness to be, among other things, a global citizen. I believe in this citizenship. It is the only citizenship I believe in. I love the idea that I am now in a hall filled with fellow global citizens. It is one reason your graduation day is a happy day for me, why I'm thrilled and honored to be part of it. Everything is connected. Everything, whether good or bad, nurturing or destructive, touches and moves and changes everything else. If you graduates go out from here and do what you do with love, with loving care, you will help create, in a precarious time, a future that will benefit us all. That is now your job, our job. I thank you from my heart for choosing to do it, and I salute you once more. Thank you.
I am now pleased to introduce an honored guest and a regular attendee at our commencement, here today to congratulate the graduating class of 2017, our senior United States Senator from New York, and now Minority Leader of the Democratic Caucus, Charles Schumer. Now in his third term, Senator Schumer has been a tireless advocate for New Yorkers on challenges ranging from important energy infrastructure initiatives to public health. Over this past year, he has connected with New Yorkers and their businesses across the state with his support for policies and legislation that pave the way for expanding economic opportunities. He continues to be an advocate for improved access to quality and affordable education. Until recently, he served as ranking member of the Committee on Senate Rules and Administration, the Senate Judiciary, Finance, Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committees, and was the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Immigration, Refugees, and Border Security. A product of Brooklyn Public Schools, Senator Schumer graduated from Harvard College, Harvard Law School, and was elected to the New York State Assembly at age 23, just about your age. He was elected to Congress at age 29. It is my pleasure to introduce my friend, Senator Schumer.
Thank you, Tom. Great job. Thank you. It's just great to be here with all of you. I want to congratulate Mayor Dinkins, my good friend, also my good friend Barbaralee Diamonstein-Spielvogel, Regina Spektor, a great alum. And I wanted to say, Mr. Cotter, who I never met before,
I told him that now Damon is grown up and running a daycare center. But he doesn't take them on the A train. Anyway, it's an honor to be here today to address the members of the platform, the friends and families of the graduates, but most of all, you, the graduates of SUNY Purchase 2017. Congratulations. Now, first, I'd like to announce my class gift. As you know, it's hard to pay for college. If you're poor, the federal government helps you out. That's a good thing. But what about the middle class? So I wrote a law a few years ago, it's permanent law now on the books, that says you or your parents, whoever paid for college, can take as a full tax credit $2,500 off your federal taxes for every year of college and graduate school, provided, there's always a provided in Washington, provided your family income is below $200,000 a year. So if you come from a family that makes below $200,000, make sure you or mom or dad, whoever paid for college, takes that credit. Last year, about a quarter of all the people who are entitled to it didn't take it because it's relatively new, and if you forgot the last few years, you can file a very simple form with the IRS and actually get a $7,500 check in the mail. Not a bad class gift. Now, graduates, what happens if you come from a family that makes above $200,000 a year? God bless you. A word to the moms and dads. I know how you feel because a few short years ago, my wife Iris and I sat where you did, watched our daughter Jessica come up on the platform, get a diploma. It was one of the greatest days of our life. And so I say to you, job well done, congratulations as well. It's a great day for you. And one more word of thanks. As we're sitting here today, there are young men and women, many from New York State, who are in our armed forces, often overseas, in dangerous places like Iraq and Afghanistan, risking their lives for us. Let's have a round of applause for them as well. Now, to this great class of 2017, you're graduating at a time we know of enormous, enormous change in our country and around the world. It's an era of profound economic change. It's an era of profound social change. The world is moving so fast. In the old days, you graduated from college and the odds were pretty high that you'd have the same job or work in the same field for the next 40 years. That's not so true anymore. Many of you will have several jobs, several careers. Along with these economic changes, the internet has put so much information at your fingertips, it's sometimes hard to figure out what's important and to distinguish between what's true and what isn't. And even around the world, there are so many changes. A generation ago, we never heard of terrorism and suicide bombing. But the good news is this. Your generation is perhaps better equipped than any generation that's come before it to adapt to these changes, to overcome obstacles that they present, and to seize the opportunities they afford, to pursue your passions and maybe even accomplish big things. Right now, though, sitting in your seats, you may not be exactly sure what's going to come next. With so much of the world changing, it may sometimes understandably feel like you're jumping into an abyss. But the key is not to fear the unknown. Embrace it, relish it, soak up every possibility it has to offer. How do I know? Because I remember I had these feelings myself when I was younger. When I was seated at college graduation, as many of you are today, I had learned that I had just won a scholarship to travel all around the world, all expenses paid for a whole year. For me, it was the opportunity of a lifetime. I had never been out of the country before. But at the same time, I had met a girl, and I fell in love. Aww. So, graduates, I had to decide. Do I go around the world for a whole year on the all-expense-paid scholarship? Or do I stay home with the girl, my first true love? Class of 2017, what would you have done? Mr. President, the class is divided. I stayed home with the girl. Okay, you romantics over there in the third row, don't clap yet. The story unfolds. That summer, she went on a brief vacation, and I went to the airport to meet her on her return. As soon as she got off the plane, I saw by the look on her face something was the matter. She dumped me by Labor Day. There I was, no scholarship, no trip around the world, no girl. I said to myself, what a loser you are. You're never gonna make anything of yourself. Hang it up. And in fact, I stayed in my house for several months, moped around, felt sorry for myself. But somehow I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and moved forward. And a few years later, I found myself seated once again at graduation, this time from law school. But on the way home from graduation, I told Mom and Dad I was not going to join the fancy law firm like we had planned. I told them I loved politics. I told them my dream was to run for public office. My parents were shocked. My mother was particularly disappointed. You see, I came from a working-class family. My dad was an exterminator, never went to college. And this law firm was paying $400 a week, which in those days was more money than my family had ever seen. But they wanted the best for me, but my heart, my dream was to run for office, and so that fall, at the age of 23, and against very long odds, I ran for the New York State Assembly, and I had 3 opponents. There was the party machine candidate, there was a neighborhood activist, and then there was my mother, who was telling all her friends not to vote for me. So as she said, I'd get this dumb idea of being a politician out of my big, thick head. Well, graduates, a few years earlier, I didn't get that girl, but that November, I won the election. So, to the graduates on this day, on this great day of your achievement and happiness, my advice to you is take the risk. Don't let the fear of failure deter you, even though the world is so different and changing. For those of us who have gotten older and look back on life, one of the things we most regret, I'm sure it's true of almost everyone my age around here, is the what ifs. What if I had done this? What if I hadn't done that? My advice to the class of 2017 is very simple. Go for it. Now, you're about to cast off into the unknown. It can sometimes seem very scary, but you've got great assets, a great education here from Suny Purchase, families, parents who will have your back and back you up through thick and thin. So, garner up the courage and strength to put your doubts aside, take a chance, and if you do, it's my hope, it's my prayer, and indeed it's my confidence you will find true success and true joy. So to this great class of 2017, congratulations. Good luck. Godspeed, and don't you forget, go for it. You did such a great job here.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the 2017 senior class speaker, Cody La Vada. Cody is a creative writing major, multidisciplinary artist, an educator on transgender and LGBTQ issues who comes from upstate New York. Please join me in welcoming to the podium the 2017 Commencement Senior Class Speaker, Cody La Vada. Remember, look for the family face.
I'm a little tall. Is that okay? Hi, everyone. Thank you, President Schwartz. Good afternoon and welcome, Suny Purchase staff, faculty and administrators, family and loved ones, friends and fellow graduates of the class of 2017. It is an immense honor to be here sharing this day with all of you. You know, growing up transgender in a small, conservative, upstate New York town taught me at a young age that blending into the crowd was a source of protection, and that with conformity comes comfort, or at least safety. I hid a lot as a child, a lot when I was younger, and I never imagined that there would come a day where I could stand in front of such a massive crowd, looking as glamorous as I do, albeit rather disheveled from the heat. And be accepted without question. I could never have gotten where I am today were it not for Suny Purchase College and the community here. Like my fellow graduates, I recently completed my own senior project. It focused on transformations both literal and figurative. I worked closely with Professors Catherine Lewis and Elise Lemire of the Creative Writing and Literature departments to create a 150-page collection of poetry, essays, and prose that explore my ongoing transition and experiences as a transgender woman. Since we are living in a time fraught with socio-political upheaval, or whatever you want to call what's happening right now, the need for transgender visibility, acceptance, and normalization is at an all-time high. According to the Human Rights Campaign, 2016 was the deadliest year on record for trans women within the United States. At least 27 were the victims of brutal murders. Considering the fact that we make up less than 0.5% of the global population, it is clear that we are being killed at a rate that puts the existence of our very community in jeopardy. I felt a profound obligation to provide a narrative on what it is like to live as part of such a targeted and stigmatized demographic. So as I wrote and rewrote, edited, and deleted everything only to start from the beginning at least twice, I realized how deeply connected I felt to the Purchase College community that has nurtured me over the last 4 years. I also thought of how critical Purchase has been to my process of transformation and self-creation. I was raised in Gloversville, New York, about an hour north of Albany. It was once the hub of the country's glove-making industry, but has since fallen into a state of economic decline since the 60s when the factories were abandoned. As far back as I can remember, I never felt like I truly belonged. In elementary school, I was relentlessly made fun of by the boys for instinctively playing with the girls, and I had endless arguments with my gym teacher, begging to be placed on the girls' teams during games. While most of the girls in my classes accepted and welcomed me, I knew that in some ways we were different. There was no one within my entire school that I could identify with, or anyone who was so relentlessly teased for not fitting into a predefined mold. It was painful to have to endure the whispers and stares day after day, along with the constant mockery over how I wore my hair, the way I walked, my dislike of sports, the sound of my own voice, and my choice of playmates. By middle school, I began to regularly skip class to avoid these bullies, especially gym, where we were now segregated according to our bodies, and where my differences were the most glaring. I was an easy target in gym class, shy, effeminate, and awkward. The thought of swimming topless or of changing around the boys terrified me. The more that puberty ravaged my body, the more I knew that something was off, that I was trapped within an inescapable prison of my own flesh and blood. Even my home didn't feel like a refuge. I didn't want to shame or embarrass my parents, and I knew how difficult it was for all of them to see their firstborn child going through something so complex. I found comfort in art, in writing, and through theater, which allowed me to assume other identities so that I could escape into fabricated worlds and try to ignore my depression and loneliness. That's when I made some of the best friends of my life. In 9th grade, I befriended 2 girls who were in my art class, whom I have come to consider my sisters. With them, I began to experiment with makeup and to express my latent femininity. We made our own costumes and staged elaborate photo shoots in the living room. When I was 15, I came out to them as transgender, and they acted as though I was telling them the sky was blue. We knew, my friend said, we were just waiting for you to be comfortable enough to tell us. So when it came time to look at colleges, my friend's older sister suggested Purchase, which was her alma mater. When I got accepted to the creative writing program in 2013, I took the opportunity to recreate myself. I was going to Purchase after all, which is a place lauded for being so inclusive and accepting. When I packed, I left the boring, shapeless boy clothes upstate and opted instead for thrifted couture and hand-me-downs from the girls and their mother. It was an exhilarating time, but also frightening and bittersweet. I don't need to explain the anxiety that starting college can cause, because I'm sure you all can relate. But for me, starting at Purchase was an experience full of paradoxes. Despite my excitement at being accepted and finally being away from my hometown, I was initially placed in Big House. Yeah. On an all-male floor, it gets worse, with communal bathrooms. So I was forced to deal with the humiliation and the shame of using these facilities for about a week until I finally worked up the courage to request appropriate accommodations that respected my gender. I learned how to cultivate my courage, self-respect, and dignity while here. I began to publicly express my gender openly and authentically, and on April 7th, 2015, I started hormone replacement therapy and took my first pill surrounded by my friends in Alumni Village. This indelibly linked my transition to my time here at SUNY Purchase. With this newfound confidence, I began to advocate for myself as well as others on a wider scale. I worked with fellow students and the Office of Community Engagements to change the housing intake survey so that incoming trans students could finally be housed in safe and accommodating spaces. I began work with GLSEN, the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, last year and appeared as the keynote speaker at their annual Leadership Awards ceremony earlier this week. Thank you. Through GLSEN, I lecture at various schools, mental health clinics, and different institutions to spread awareness of the problems being faced by trans youth in both public and private life. I have found my calling, and all because of my time here at SUNY Purchase and the confidence that I've developed. While Purchase certainly fostered confidence in me, my own maternal grandmother also played a pivotal role, though I was too young at the time to fully understand or appreciate the magnitude of her wisdom. It was an early evening in late spring, and my grandmother and I were on the back patio. She was showing me the flowers that separated our lawn from the neighbors when she pointed to a bush that was filled with greenish-white capsules. Some were broken apart and hollow. I touched one and it was so delicate that it collapsed in on itself. Others were filled with wiggling, segmented legs and folds of colorful wing. My grandmother explained that they were butterflies coming out of their cocoon. I had kept one in a terrarium once to watch it transform, but it had taken too long. I got tired of waiting, and after a day or two, I stopped feeding it. I didn't realize back then that transformation takes time. So I reached out a hand and tried to help one of the butterflies escape from its chrysalis. The flailing legs and helpless gestures reminded me of the awkward feeling of entrapment that I experienced when in gym class, feeling stuck where I didn't belong, but not knowing how to navigate my way out. My grandmother took me and gently led me from the bush. Now I know what my creative writing professors, along with everyone else, must be thinking, and how they'll be questioning me after this, wondering where I was during those lectures about cliché. After all, an anecdote about a butterfly to symbolize change isn't exactly revolutionary. But it's what my grandmother said next that turns this cliché completely on its head. You can't help them, she told me. They have to come out on their own. If they don't struggle against the cocoons, their wings won't develop, and they'll never be able to fly away. Roughly 20 years later, with a BA in creative writing about to be placed in my hand, I look back at this moment and see it for what it was, a bit of foreshadowing of the future, not only my future, but all of ours. College is a frightening whirlwind of emotions, new experiences, and opportunities. We all know and realize that. At times, for me, as for many of us here, it has felt isolating, desolate, and uncertain. But through these struggles, we've laid the groundwork and the foundations for a path to a brighter tomorrow, where our suffering is transfigured into success, as long as it isn't left in a terrarium with no food or holes for air. I owe a great deal of my success to my professors who have inspired and guided me from the beginning here. I would like to thank the creative writing department from the bottom of my heart, which has helped me to develop my own voice, to show, not to tell. We all hear that all the time. To kill my darlings and to stop ripping off Sylvia Plath. Thank you to Professors Catherine Lewis, Monica Farrell, and Medeo Kasi, as well as my mentor, Professor Teresa Benequist, and my therapist, Meg Sussman. Thanks in large part to their invaluable support and encouragement, I was recently accepted to join Teach for America. I will begin working as an elementary school teacher later this fall, and I intend to continue. Thank you, yes. Through TFA, I intend to continue educating, promoting awareness, and advocating for inclusivity and the freedom of safe self-expression for all young people. Thank you to the friends I have made, too numerous to single out, but specifically to my friends Diane, who is also graduating, and Dinah, who have been absolutely invaluable. To my family and loved ones who have been there for me throughout my journey, I couldn't have lasted this long without you and your support. To my incredibly talented peers, the class of 2017, I wish you all the best of luck in your futures and your endeavors. We each serve as testaments to the way that this institution can inspire positive change within its community. As we stand at this precipice and prepare for the next stage in our lives, I urge you all to consider the changes that you have undergone while at SUNY Purchase and realize that we are all our own greatest work of art, constantly changing, and that we are all our own magnum opus. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Provost Pearson, will you please proceed?
Thank you, Cody. Thank you for your inspirational speech, but more importantly, thank you for your contributions to making Purchase what it aspires to be. We will now proceed with the conferring of degrees. Mr. President, as Provost of Purchase College, I have the honor on behalf of the administration, faculty, and staff to present to you the college's 2017 degree candidates. And I ask with pride that you confer upon them the degrees which they have earned and to which they are entitled. I would respectfully invite Elizabeth Robertson, Director of Government Relations and Strategic Projects, and a member of the Purchase College Council to join you in the presentation of degrees. And assisting Elizabeth Robertson is Presiding Officer of the Faculty and Chair of the College Senate, Associate Professor of Theater and Design Technology, Dan Hanessian. This is how this will work. The deans will introduce the chairs and directors who will welcome the candidates from their respective schools and conservatories. The names of the candidates will be read by Pamela Prather, Lecturer in Theater Performance in the Conservatory of Theater Arts, and J. Elliott Lewis, Assistant Professor of Journalism in School of Humanities. This is a very important day for our graduates, and I ask that students, faculty, staff, and family members please remain seated until all graduates' names have been read. Please do not allow your cheers to drown out the name of the next candidate. Today we celebrate a Purchase tradition, the passing of the brick. 4 years ago, 2 incoming freshmen from the class of 2017 were given a brick at orientation, a symbol of Purchase and the achievements of our students. The class of 2017 bricks have been safeguarded for the past 4 years. And in a little while, 2 of our classmates, your classmates, Rebecca Rogers and Haley Marino, will hand the class 2017 bricks back to President Schwartz when they come to receive their diploma. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ravi Rajan, Dean of the School of the Arts.
Director of Art and Design Stephen Lamb will help to welcome to the stage the degree candidates in art and design. Mr. President, on behalf of the Faculty of Art and Design, I have the honor to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Fine Arts and Bachelor of Science.
Emily G. Akista. Mecca Shabazz. Nell Teresa Argentieri. Gunnar Arton. Angela Ola Asal. Savannah R. Baker. Olivia Berry Ballard. Alexander Marcus Beach. Mia Bieber. Alex Bissalier. Adam Powell Burns. Alexandra Kegpol. Elizabeth Marie Carter. Mark Richard Collier. Thomas Anthony Campono. Naralma Y. Cruz. Samuel D. Poto. Jessica R. DeAngelis. Alexa Renee DeFazio. Justin Christopher Donnarumma. Kadir El Amin. Natalie Encarnacion. Catherine Feliz. Adele Angel Fernandez. Danielle J. Foti. Erica L. Fulton. Kelly Noel Gibson. Carla Elizabeth Herrera. Samuel J. Henwood. Kamir K. Hutchinson. Jeannie R. Ilmenev. Jessica Margaret Jensen. Christopher Wayulis. Jesse Richard Katz. Luca Pearl Kuzrova. T. Young Kong. Stephen T. Lekava. Jesse Christopher Lee. Rachel Lee. Andre Lennon. Carolyn Shanna Levy. Giovanni Gustav Lima. Erica Marielle Longo. Alexandra Rose Lutz Higgins. Camila Daniela Marcal. Julian H. Miller. Azusa Mochizuki. Melissa Marisol Murillo. Matthew Joseph Neenan. Paige Emily Nelson. Clara Tran Wynn. Paloma L. Olerberg. Brian Che Oriana. Victoria R. Otomano. Jennifer M. Parry. Christopher Patty. Sophia Lee Pepe. Jessica Lynn Petrolak. Taylor Apple Pinheiro. Maximilian Polio. Keisha Andrea Prillo Martin. Joel Ramus. Shannon Patricia Riley. Roger Wayne Richardson. Catherine M. Rogers. Maximum A. Russell. Danielle Sanabria. Emily Marie Sato. Sean L. Sirota. Bobby Smith. Ayana I. Soriares. Heather Lee Summer. Taylor Lee Stefandis. Nancy Elizabeth Margaret Utter. Julian Weber. Matthew P. Walker. Nilufa Yasmin. Esteban M. Aguilar. Casey Ann Pardones. Julia Allegra Batterman. Kristen M. Grestano. Natalia Alexis Hines. Emily R. Quichin. Samuel Josco Rico. Rosjeska Schwartz. Annabelle G. Weatherly.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Faculty of Art and Design, I now have the honor to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts.
David Brian Burns. Carmelita Diaz. Ashley Freito.
Interim Director of the Conservatory of Music and Professor of Arts Management and Entrepreneurship, James Underkoffler, will help welcome to the stage the degree candidates in Arts Management and Entrepreneurship in the Arts. Mr. President, on behalf of the Faculty of Arts Management and Entrepreneurship, I have the honor to welcome and present the candidates for the degree, the Bachelor of Arts.
Sarah Martha Abassi. Abigail Alice Adams. Blade M. Alexander. Amankai Amibia. Joshua Alexander Banks. Taylor Ashley Barjay. Apolline Veronica Chica Bass. Christopher Luigi Bierstow. Natalie Whitney Amanda Black. Rachel Borovaya. Alexandra Capel. Paula Chevalier. Emily Marion Kernan. Savannah Jane Devanzo. Mariah Davenport. Susanna Marjorie Detweiler. Lucia M. Diarquiza. Emily Ann Delora. Desiree Moon Diwaisaki. Sydney V. Dupree. Alyssa M. Falu. Jason Fox. Naomi V. Galarza. Envious L. Green. Cheyenne A. Hutchinson-Myrie. Manfred Joa. Alyssa Marie Keller. Leo Kudyak. Carly Grace Komororski. Piper Amelia Law. Anna Ledwith. Danielle Hillary Lee. Zoe Ariel Lubin-Fosha. Willow Blue Mays. Mary Kate Grace McGee. Beth McKenna Moffett. Julia A. Morales. Lita Mary Collins Mumgard. Daniel J. Nasimos. Erica D. Narika. Yama Ishwari Oji. Nicholas J. Palladino. Brendan Paternostro. Maria Valeriana Perez Cortez. Brianna Marie Pierce. Sebastian P. Rametta. John Dowd Ryan. Justin Sharon. Carolyn Soba. Jonathan Gray Stafford. Alejandro Torres. Christina Valentine. Abigail Winters Wheeler. Megan Marie Wiggers. Kamoya Williams. Ethan Wilson. Juanig Yin.
Mr. President, I have the distinct pleasure at this time, on behalf of the Faculty of Arts Management and Entrepreneurship, to present the first ever candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Entrepreneurship.
Dante Richard Alberti. Coraline Klubnik Simone. Ryan Thomas Monk. Anekwa Shamari Noel. Shante Lachey Richardson.
Director of Dance Nellie Van Bommel will help welcome to the stage the degree candidates in dance. Mr. President, on behalf of the Faculty of Dance, I have the honor to present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Umi Akiyoshi. Jessica M. Alexander. Elizabeth Ann Archer. Kimba Ruth Barnes. Danica Joy Bigley. Hannah Elizabeth Bianchi. Sienna Rose Catblaw. Taylor J. Boyland. Jacqueline Kaye. Sierra Nicole Chamberlain. Mitchell Ashley Christie. Claire Taylor Deanne. Piper Mackenzie Dye. Jingi Gao. Nicholas Louis Garlow. Emily Luke Grable. Selena Shida Hack. Laura Rose Hawes. Sierra Jade Herrera. Claude Johnson. Kyle Avery Jones. Emily Marie Kessler. Lucas Kling. Christine Angelique Liwag. Mercedes McCoy. Ashley Marie Merker. Sophia Emily Menenenko. Julian J. Nichols. Nathan Nerschel. Elizabeth Rebecca Riddick. Madeline Grace Robertson. Supawali Rochanivafat. Jessica Lauren Smith. Samantha Connor Speetjens. Hannah Rose Straney. Emily C. Tatham. Spencer James Whitey.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Suzanne Kessler, Dean of the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences.
Augustine Zarzosa, Chair of Film and Media Studies, will help welcome to the stage the degree candidates in Film and Media Studies. Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of Film and Media Studies, I have the honor to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Fine Arts and Bachelor of Arts.
Mary Elizabeth Adams. Jenna Backus. Megan Marie Balduzzi. Apolline Veronica Chigabas. Olivia Batal. Samantha Lee Bauman. Ryan G. Berthoff. Alexandria Brammer. Julia Ann Bretonis. Juliana Ariel Brill. Justin A. Brown. Nicole A. Burns. Summer Faith Clevenger. Connor P. Copeland. Lauren Page Corlett. David Alexander Cruz. Sean Cruz. Alyssa Marie D'Amato. Ashley Marie Denham. Krista Nicole DeMeglio. Kevin Andrew Egbert. Faith Samantha Emola Johnson. Natalie Faye Fennell. Stephen M. Frey. Amber J. Fraser. Haley Ann Gallagher. Patrick J. Gibbons. Natasha Ashley Green. Kimberly Marie Guzman. Cassidy R. Hammond. Carolyn Summerick Handel. Megan Elizabeth Haugo. Charlotte Honey Siller. Eric Isaacson. Sakamarald Javadav. Richard Andrew Francis Kelly. Imran Ahmed Khan. Sarah Kritz. Vera V. Kuznetsova. Philip T. Lascaris. Joseph William Lieb. Carrie Ann Lavalle. Latisse Dominique MacArthur. Julia Annette Mesliner. Ben Michael Morgantini. Avraham Moskowitz. Michael Austin Nicolo. Chloe I. Obach. Brandon M. Paris. Devin Alexander Pascal Seward. Kyle M. Fletcher. Sebastian P. Rametta. Sarafina Redaliu. Ben Adam Rendish. Joseph Calvin Ravender. Scott Joseph Rivard. Phoenix Acacia Robertson. Joshua N. Rosenbaum. Christoph Robert Sawyer. Kathleen Heather Schaefer. Noah Jacob Shear. Robert F. Schuring. Desiree N. Skeets. Brian C. Slack. Christian Sokole. Rachel Ann Titelbaum. Georgia Annalie Trosch. Lucia Miranda Urbanik. Elizabeth M. Vaca. Renzo Manuel Venezuela. Erica Vitucci. Michael T. Waters. Danielle Flynn Willis. Ronald Michael Raubleski. Ashley C. Yalahu. Sarah A. Yalaju. Daniel August Zwieman. Emma P. Apple. Brandon R. Barr. Aurora Zoe Baumbach. Madhura Grace Berman. Kevin Cardis. Benjamin Jerome Davis. Maxwell Kroll. Molly Elizabeth Deacon. Kristen D. Girolamo. Samuel P. Gorman. Jeremy L. Gray. William David Miller III. Maxwell R. Mooney. Gabriela H. Murillo. Anthony A. Riso. Connor Hendrick Shermans. Harris Van Alterman.
Chair of Humanities, Ross Daly, will help welcome to the stage the degree candidates in Humanities. Mr. President, on behalf of the Faculty of Humanities, I have the honor to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
Inez Ozina. Samantha Bias. Olivia Rose Behan. Daniel Berman. Jared Robert Bernaccia. Whisper Lynn Blanchard. Michelle A. Blonyar. Christina Boutin. Catherine M. Camilleri. Alejandro Carballo. Megan K. Byron. Michael Murphy Caleri. Michelle R. Charist. Bertie Hugo Connolly, AKA Isabel. Jenna Backus. Roxanne Simone Coleman. Marissa Carol Collins. Nolan T. Crowley. Riley Cole Demerell. Jillian Rose Das. Bridget Renee Deese. Riley Ann Dixon. Thomas Grant Farrell. Emily Rachel Feinberg. Cheyenne Ashley Forbes. Sheree Janelle Fraser. Sylvia Garcia. Jalen A. Garcia Hall. Laura T. Garrison. Sarah D. Gessner. Stephen Glavey. Bruce K. Hamilton. Jordan T. Handler. Marina Havriliak. Joshua Alexander Hazelhurst. Emily Caitlin Hernandez. Alexandre Hyrenik. Ian Taney Humphreys. Aaliyah Tiana Johnson. Amber Jones. Casey Lynn Neipel. Madison L. Kolis. Vera V. Kuznetsova. David W. Lamb. Aaron Landau. Cody La Vada. Piper Amelia Law. Matthew David Lippman. Lek Loshi. Rian Lovett Pitts. Layla Martinez. Angelo Vincent Mazzacane. Danielle Marie McCormick. Carol Melger. Brian William Millen. Megan Dorothy Moore. Amber Maury. Mary Rose Irene Mueller. Taylor S. Murchison Gallagher. Susan Lorraine Nygaard. Georgiana Sierra O'Neill. Sharina Patrice Osasami. Deanna A. Page. John D. Pasker. Michael Pelham. Emma B. Pfeiffer. Renzo Manuel Valenzuela. Angelica M. Pilgrim. Michael J. Pisacano. Victoria Noel Peedy. Simone Isabella Reisman. Gregory Jason Regen. Emma A. Rhodes. Taylor J. Ringgold. Gabriela A. Rodriguez. Marinella Samorcas. Robert Avery Scott. Ansel C. Shipley. James Siegel. Rachel A. Smith. Stephen P. Smith. Natika Vashti. Victoria Ann Stawicki. Danielle A. Steele. Christopher A. Stewart. Heidi Johanna Sweeney. Nicole Remy Swag. Ambora Raven Thompson. Jacob S. Vasquez. Denise Marie Veriello. Caitlin Wallach. Brett Joseph Ward. Michelle Verze Walensky. Raven Shikara Williams. Ivana Janice Woodard.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Faculty of Humanities, I now have the honor to present the candidate for the degree of Master of Arts.
Tracy Dutton Ludwig.
Assistant Dean of Liberal Arts and Sciences and Director of Academic Programs, School of Liberal Studies and Continuing Education, Trudy Milburn, will help welcome to the stage the degree candidates in Liberal Studies. It's right here. You want to read it right here?
Mr. President, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Liberal Studies and Continuing Education, I have the honor to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science.
Danya Al-Jayosi, Diane Ali, Samantha Carmen Alonzo, Muna Sami Ariket, Lisa Arias, Frank Aviles, Jonathan Andrew Baldari, Tatiana Hazel Brown, Kieran Joseph Butler, Janine Ellen Calabro, Christopher A. Capucci, Martin Hector Caro, Vincent Leonard Carson, Marisol Castellano, Alexander Stephen Chapman, Victoria Ann Como, Christopher Kelly Daniels, Alexis Isabel Di Santo, Jason Alexander Dowd, Mackenzie Imani Dreyer, Tammy Joe Alizer, Magdalene Estrella, Brandon Fields, Andrew E. Fingerhut, Catherine Giovannina Fiorello, Lakai Kihana Flemings, Nicole I. Fortuna, Tristan Fox, Shunyan Funahara, Adam J. Gale, Taylor Ashley Barjay, Miguel Angel Garcia, Jalen A. Gardner, Matthew Gavilanes, Tabitha Glacian, Jasmine G. Graham, Vincent J. Grasso, Stephen Anthony Gray, Amanda Green, Jinyoga Gross, Patrick Joseph Guerra, Jade Ashley Hackett, Alexandra Teresa Hanlon, Ashley E. Herson, Stephen Edward Herzl, Stephanie Hinojosa, George Kevin Ian Hines, Francis A. Howell, Matt Tyler Jackman, Razan Sami Jamal, Gregory Victor Joseph, Emily Bronwyn Kahn, Daniel Benjamin Kofer, Lindsay Rose Kinnear, Courtney M. Kopa, Michaela Krizovna, Samuel Benjamin Land, Renata Loktkova, Kevin Loftus, Dylan Eve Lolia, Keiko Makita, Deanne Margie, Marcus Maurice, Francis McGuigan, Chloe Connor McHale, James Edgar McLean, Kenneth Cleveland Mighty, Salvatore J. Milazzo, Donna Marie Mullins, Patrick Timothy O'Connell. Ian D. Oglesby. Olivia G. O'Hare. Dominic Carter. Thomas Michael Olivieri. Georgia Renia Panagi. Safia Osisami. Evan Scott Pearson. Ingrid Chaya Dimon Podwell. Ronald Leonardo Presley. Tara Cameli Alexis Antigua Guiano. Yanali Elizabeth Ramirez. Derek Joseph Reed Jr. Janeth Reyes. Sean Riva. Althea Roberts. Samantha Sandoval. Adriana Karen Sinadis. Giovanni G. Spadro. Stephen Andrew Stark. Kelsey Minnie Straub. Christian Peter Svaland. Gabrielle Lauren Tassalelli. Michael J. T.C. Ernst Theodore Tenamil. Sean Patrick Chohill. Alexandra Saori Tolinici. Rollins Joseph Troop. Maliza Vargas. Michelle Ventura. Yamilka Ventura. Gillian J. Wander. Don Wilkinson. Latoya Williams. Aman Lee Wood. Hashim Prince Zaire Wright. Peter John Yanker. Destiny Nicole Young. Norma Mary Anicora. Michael Scott Perazzo. Nora Sammy Arakat. Lamis Ad Jamal. Simon Bixby. Albin Bonilla. Jasmine Marie Bryant. Cassandra Colazzo. Louis Patrick Cocolo. Lucy Costa. Marie Angelica Franco. Nicholas R. Jackson. Julian Jones. Kristen Grace Cafanteris. Chloe Pauline Caston. Allison Elizabeth Coral. Valeska M. Nelson. Emily H. Pasqua. George M. Pavel. Keith Ian Rodman. Emily Rose Salvoni. Pauline Maria Eugenie Tavares.
Interim Director for the Conservatory of Music, James Underkoffler, will help to welcome to the stage the degree candidates in music. On behalf of the Faculty of Music, I have the honor to present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Music.
Abigail Alice Williams. Abigail Alice Adams. Melissa M. Alilas. Kara K. Collins. Nicole Virginia Davis. Travis Gunnar DeJong. Rose Delamare. Drummond Luis Dominguez Kincanen. Sarah K. Donnellan. Colin Joseph Levy Dorman. John James Downey. Matthew Paul Ebers. Mark Frangello. Martin Gomez Constenla. Ethan B. Gustavusson. Alexandra M. Hamburger. Gabriel Stevenson Harris. Ava Ray Heatley. Sarah Catherine C. Hook. Austin Joseph Isola. Darnell Jerome Jordan. Jihee Kim Chloe. Andrew Peter Latona. Angel Michael Lau. Corey Gallagher Levsky. Loveday. Emma Christine Lyon Wilcox. Juan Augusto Malpartida. Beno Marmer. Keith Dre Martin. Mason Scott McDowell. Jesse Melito. Emma Rachel Nicholson. Jonathan V. Ogelnick. Ivan Antonio Lagme Polanco. Luis Carmen Rizzo, the fourth. Rebecca Iris Rogers. Alexa Rosenberg. Leo Cognac. Juan Camilo Sanchez. Bobby Sanchez. Sequoia M. Selinger. Nora Broderick Spielman. Jake Stam. Samuel Kaplan Murray Starbun. Harper A. Stevenson. Robert J. Stocker. Evan Douglas Sundquist. Hannah Lee Thompson. Lauren A. Wallen. Jack A. Walter. Jared Max Waters. Kevin Patrick Young.
Mr. President, on behalf of the Faculty of Music, I now have the honor to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Music, as well as the Artist Diploma and the Performer's Certificate.
Juan Carlos Acosta. David Matthew Gavin. Peter Tripp Cornell. Ji Wan Hee. Aaron Matthew Henry. Catherine Hahn. Emily Margaret Javeron. Shung Un Kim. George Matthew Lassou. Sean Michael McQuaid. Marie Alejandro Quintanilla. Jared John Grieco. Jared William Rocco. Jane Elizabeth Saunders. Alexander Elias Slomka. Cami Jorgan Sylvia. Catherine Laurel Torin.
Chair of Natural and Social Sciences, Linda Bastone, will help welcome to the stage the degree candidates in Natural and Social Sciences. Mr. President, on behalf of the Faculty of Natural and Social Sciences, I have the honor to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science.
Daniel Fernando Sanchez. Dylan T. Adams. Shurjan Ahmad. Michael James Alessi. Eric Alonzo. Derek Ansa.
Shire Antar. Zozan Antar. Ryan Aponte. Andrea Armios. Jehan H. Awad. Victoria M. Barcy. Claire A. Bertino. Michael Bianco. Michael Blenner. Christopher Joseph Brichta. Juliana Brill. Rachel Christina Bucheri. Akil Bowles. Rachel Burwell. Ashley Lynn Calder. Gardenia Cardenas. Julian Carino. Ashley Marie Shappett. Pamina Chatram. Becky Chen. Jasmine Nicole Cherry. Nicholas A. Creaney. Kaylin Lewis Cradle. Deanna A. Page. Robert Avery Scott. Sheree Janelle Fraser. Desiree Moon Diwaisaki. Jordan T. Handler. August Cularo. Dana Dabsha. Patrick Joseph Dalton. Fernanda De Fiari. Elise Miranda Diga. Naomi De Jesus. Stephanie Natalie Del Cid. Tiffany Ann Del Cantaro. Martin De Leon. Joseph Denoda. Brandon Maslim Dobre. Bridget Renee Deese. Kevin Dennis Duran. China Michaela Duval. Melissa Ann Ethorn. Matthew Nicholas Abel. Max Tazewell Otto Edelman. Kimberly N. Estevez. Nicholas Carl Franz Foyer. Matthew James Fogarty. Cassidy R. Hammond. Gerard R. Faraci. Kaylee Lane Geller. Kenneth McCabe Gendron. Nicholas Russell Giardina. Jaspreet Gill. Christopher Matthew Glover. Sarah Goldstein. Jessica Francis Gomez. Sonia R. Gonzalez. Rachel Elizabeth Gorey. Isaac Grant. Eric James Greenberg. Noelle Maria Greasy. Elizabeth A. Harding. Sarah Yasmin Haroon. Heather Marine Holenstein. Jonathan V. Ogelnick. Tara Holmes. Alicia Jamal. Zariah Jamal. Sebastian G. Jean. April Louise Johnson. Alban Kalambukedu. Barbara Victoria Kinsella Kameri. Simon H. Lai. Mariana P. LaRosa. Jessica M. Leather. Connor Edward Levins. Brianna Philomena Leon. Sharon Rachel Levin. Juanita Shavana Rose Lipscomb. Justin Nicholas Marcovici. Christine Ann Marfia. Stephen Joseph Marini. Haley M. Marino. Casey Jean Martinucci. Carly P. Matthews. Elizabeth Jean Maroli. Michelle Patricia Mitchell. Ramona L. Mitchell. Maria Fernanda Molano. Carissa Michelle Mosca. Lara Patrice Nisanoff. Nick Noahovich. Kelsey R. Noavaka. Rowan O'Leary. Maria Macarena Ona Sandoval. Lisa Elizabeth Outhouse. Amanda N. Palmenteri. Madeline G. Pardy. Luisa Piquero. Malcolm Pelletier. Avery Piper. Carolyn Lee Plonsky. Corey Ann Podstupka. Taylor Bryn Poe. Jasmine Price. Amy Natalie Cajano Campos. Daniela Marie Rainey. Teofilo D. Ramirez. Avianca Ramos. Kevin D. Reed. Gregory E. Remador. Jose A. Reyes. Sydney Marie Riviera. Nicholas S. Roberts. Bianca Lynette Rodriguez. Thalia Rodriguez. Patrick I. Rucci. River Russ. Michael Russell. Amanda R. Sachs. Ashley Karima Sajus Turner. Elizabeth Marie Saltman. Carrie Penelope Sanchez. Isabel M. Sarapacello. Tina Marie Savarese. Andrew T. Schwab. Rachel Singer. Critton Singal. Jessica Marie Smith. Sarah Elizabeth Smith. Catherine R. Steen. Stanimir Stoichev. Janelle Sidnor. James A. Tolley. Andrea Torres. Brianna Tuma Marcella. Rachel C. Urbanos. April Ann Ull. Michael Varello. Jacinda Ann Ward. Lauren P. Webster. Danelle A. Wedderburn. Catherine E. Weisberg. Catherine Reese Welch. Courtney Ann Weber. Paul Wingate. Adam Milton Winter. Michael Anthony Del Broculo. Daniel Paul Witt. Ashley Josephine Wright. Zuriel Arellano. Joseph James Branco. Danny De La Cruz. Wilbur Benjamin Maldonado.
Director of Theater Arts, Rebecca Rugg, will, for the first time at Purchase, help welcome to the stage the degree candidates in Theater Arts.
Mary Elizabeth Adams. Ashley Kara Allen. Skylar Gabriel Belt. Victoria A. Bloom. Brian Patrick Bolger. Chanel Q. Baez. Nicholas Tyler Corbin. Clifford Alexandra Daniel. Catherine Gill Martin. Madison Hartke Weber. Samuel B. Jaffe. William Johnson. Alyssa Marie Keller. Jaquan J. Kelly. Ashley M. King. Gregory Matthew Lacken. Elizabeth M. Larkin. Ruby Leaf. Catherine Iwan Lerner Lamb. Diane M. Lopez. Joshua Charles Lopez. Caitlin Moira McCutcheon. Angelica Marie Mitliksky. Gabrielle Alexis Musicaro. Hope Janine Richards. Alexandra Paige Solito. Riley M. Stanzione. Parade D. Stone. Aaliyah Giselle Tejeda. Jovan R. Tyler Graham. Keith Wise. Jeffrey Michael Weiss. Rebecca Aaron Weirman. Hunter Matthew Wilson. Marquise Wilson. Andrea Michelle Wynn. Taylor J. Yellen. Kaylin Brooke Amber Gonzalez. Chandra A. Broomfield. Thomas Jessai Chase. Daniel Kwa Henderson. Clementine Oriana Gamson Levy. Levy. Jesse A. Gleese. Carolyn E. Kettig. Sasha M. Mangare Rodriguez. Jasmine Sade Richard. Una Mule Roche. Jack Cameron Romano. Jael Andrew Pettigrew. Ian G. Sanchez. Cheyenne A. Sobian. Kenneth Edward Satya Valles. Lacey I. Ballard. Anna R. Barones. Kieran Bennett. Katrina H. Bolenbach. Robert P. Bray. Samantha Lee Kanselarich. Anne Marie Carcione. Stephen P. Claiborne. Joanna B. Contiera. Nicole Rose DeChico. Zachary Peter Jobrin. Toya Leonora Lafine Dubin. Deja M. Edwards. Holly Joanna Fucci. Jessica B. Fusco. Corrine Gologurski. Judith A. Cagle. Duan Jennifer Kim. Sophie Coaster. Thomas Loberto. Olivia Rose Mancini. Phoebe Hope Muadin. Marie Mary Grace Moran. Caitlin Nobari. Rebecca Nussbaum. Victoria Rose Rametta. Cameron Reese. Sarah B. Rosenberg. Carlton Lewis Sargent. Megan Elizabeth Joy Siebel. Samantha Short. Justin W. Tolbert. Amanda Valtrin.
Will all the degree candidates now please stand? Well, you're standing. Mr. President, you have here assembled before you the Purchase College degree candidates for 2017. On behalf of the administration, faculty, staff of the college, I ask at this time that you confer upon them their degrees.
I guess so. Are we ready? You don't want any more speeches? Okay. Upon the authority vested in me by the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York, I hereby confer upon you the degrees which you have earned and to which you are entitled. Congratulations. You are now Purchase College graduates.